guys, it's Bunnymon and welcome to today's video and welcome to another WWE reaction. Ronda Rousey is in the news about WWE and she is mad. For today, I want to react to the video by Stunned by Wrestling and it's called Why Ronda Rousey Sucked at Being a WWE Superstar. Sheesh. Let's go. All right.
Ronda Rousey had a really promising start in WWE, and it looked like she was a natural superstar. Her debut at the Royal Rumble in 2018 was very exciting. She was one of the hottest female athletes on the planet at the time.
Yeah, true.
And it was a huge deal to see her in a wrestling ring. Then
I
she
have never
teamed up
seen her
with
in
Kurt Angle
wrestling.
to face Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in one of the best matches of the night at WrestleMania 34, and once again, the fans were totally behind her.
Yeah,
she was
I would
accepted as a true WWE superstar from the moment that she arrived on the scene. And
it is so weird because you guys, you know that Ronda has a background of being a great wrestler, really strong woman, and like, isn't that like one of the main things about it? And she's a celebrity, like she has her own fans already. So I really wondered why she did not succeed. And back in the day, I wasn't watching WWE when Ronda was there. I was like, okay, now I don't get it. So I hope this video is going to clarify a thing or two to me.
No secret that Rousey had been a fan of wrestling since she was a kid. We'd seen her sat in the front row at various shows in the past, and she'd appeared alongside The Rock at WrestleMania 31 a few years before. And of course, she adopted Roddy Piper's nickname. Yes, Rowdy Ronda Rousey seemed to have a lot of love for the business, and you could see the happiness on her face during these first appearances. She was so respectful of the business too, and that came across in the many interviews that she gave at the time. When she made her full-time debut in May 2018, she was booked in a way that made sense. She was kept strong without that negatively impacting the other women on the roster. She got a Raw Women's title match against Nia Jax at Money in the Bank, which she lost thanks to Alexa Bliss cashing in her briefcase. But her popularity was undeniable. It already felt like the right time for her to ascend to the championship, just because of how over she was with the fans. She went on to squash Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam to win the Raw Women's Championship. It felt like she was a WWE superstar and a worthy women's champion, rather than a guest MMA fighter who was being booked over the other women on the roster. Her title reign was pretty damn good, and there were a good few months where she was on top of the world. But it couldn't last forever, and she soon became victim to WWE's dumbass storytelling at the end of 2018.
Do not tell me that because of the storytelling, she sucked. Not again. How can you mess it up with especially people who have so much potential? And I'm sure people you pay so much money to have.
When Becky Lynch returned to the company, she was quickly turned heel. And this was completely against the fans' wishes. But it was during that period where Vince McMahon was going directly against what the fans wanted. And so they entered Rousey into a program with Lynch in what was supposed to be a sort of Clash of the Titans style feud, but the roles were totally wrong. All the fans wanted to do was cheer Lynch, and so by default they started booing Rousey. And here is where it became very clear how fragile Rousey's ego could be. For the very first time, she was experiencing a negative reaction from the crowd, and she didn't like it one bit. It seemed as though it would be Rousey versus Lynch at WrestleMania 35, and Rousey took to social media in a very hot-headed way. The online war between Rousey and Lynch was a very confusing one to witness, from a fan's perspective at least. As part of the storyline, Lynch was arrested on Raw, and she posted her mugshots on Twitter shortly thereafter. It was obviously a work, it was part of the storyline, but Rousey decided not to play along. That's what I'm trying to do, dumbass. You hobbling around trying to be a ginger crutch ninja and taking fake prison photos.
Oh my god. First, Becky tweeted, Ronda, you'll go back and get that belt because I didn't come this far to collect it from Stephanie. Or Stephane, I guess. I don't know. I came all this way to take it from you. And then
Photos
that's
in the
what Ronda
hallway
replied.
isn't helping. Lynch tried to discourage her from calling things fake, but Ronda just got more fired up. F word? You mean fake? Fake like your nonsensical BS armbar that doesn't even work and just looks
No,
like
no, 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 no. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't call these things about pro wrestling being there and having to sell it. You were just shitting on the whole company then.
holding the dick you wish you had. It became evident here that Rousey was every inch the WWE superstar until she was under scrutiny. Rebecca Quinn,
Oh,
I don't
shit.
care what the script says, I'm beating the living shit out of you the next time I see you. I don't know whether this was Rousey genuinely going off script or whether
was it work?
WWE were
Yeah.
approving her words in order
Yeah.
to build up the match at WrestleMania.
I
But
don't
from a
know.
fan's perspective, seeing this kind of fourth wall breaking is very off-putting indeed.
Mm-hmm.
The way Rousey conducted herself on social media showed
No
up the
good.
business and disrespected both her peers and the fans. It was a bad presentation
Yeah.
for a so-called superstar. The WrestleMania match ended up being between Rousey, Lynch and Charlotte Flair, with Lynch winning in the end. That was the end of Rousey's first run in the company, but it turned out that she was far from happy. In an interview, she said, "So it's just like, what am I doing it for if I'm not able to spend my time and energy on my family, but instead spending my time and energy on a bunch of fucking ungrateful fans that don't even appreciate me next time I see you."
Oh, sorry. Like, literally, it's part of the business. You cannot always be on top. Also, like, without going behind and talking shit like this, you could have started a new storyline. Like, I don't know, coming back, changing your attitude, becoming heel or becoming babyface. Like, I don't know, like, there is multiple of things you can do. But to go this badly out just because the script is not in your favor and you are not winning all the time? Come on.
My responsibility to retain the ratings and deliver. You know, you don't want people to be disappointed. Well, most people don't have a thick enough skin to be a WWE superstar. And it was this kind of talk that proved that Ronda was out of her depth in the wrestling business. A return for Rousey looked like it was a long way off in 2021, and that seemed like it was for the best, for her own mental health, if nothing else. But then, for some reason, she showed back up at the 2022 Royal Rumble. This time around, it didn't feel as special as back in 2018, and once again, she was being booked against type as a babyface. It was a baffling decision to
She
bring
is
her back as
not
a
a
good guy, because she
babyface.
would have worked perfectly as a
Yeah.
heel, especially after everything she'd said about the
Yeah.
fans.
Exactly.
The obvious
Like,
idea
she
would
is
have been for her
definitely
to
not.
wrestle Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, this time with Lynch as the face and Ronda as the heel, but McMahon was still in his stubborn asshole mode and decided to book a match for her against Charlotte instead. Flair won at WrestleMania, and then Rousey went on to win the championship from her at Backlash. In this second run, WWE encountered its biggest problem with booking someone like Ronda Rousey.
But look how
She
strong
made
she was,
everyone
man.
around her look weak,
Yeah.
simply because of her real-life credentials.
Duh.
She lost the title when Liv Morgan cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase, and then she had a totally unbelievable feud with her. It was obvious that in reality, Rousey could kick the living shit out
Oh
of
my
Liv Morgan in a
God.
real fight.
Okay, like, if we look at the reality of the situation, in a lot of cases, a lot of wrestlers would be winning easy against others. Like, we have to take that out from pro wrestling and WWE. Like, I had to learn that, and it was really hard for me because, like, I can literally see physically and from the history of some wrestler, like, of course that wrestler should win, but for the sake of the story, I go with it, and I believe, like, I try to believe or make myself believe that the other person somehow won. You know, like you have to go with that. Like this is more of a storytelling. This is more of entertainment than reality.
And yet she ended up in a 2-month long programme with her where they traded the belt back and forth. It was really difficult to suspend your disbelief and believe that anyone on the roster was equal to Rousey, apart from possibly Charlotte Flair or Becky
Or
Lynch.
Jade.
And while that was totally out of Rousey's control,
Because
it's
she was there
another
back
reason
then.
why she made for a bad WWE superstar.
Or Naya.
And WWE had no idea what to do with her going forward. They ended up pairing her with Shayna Baszler,
this makes
and the
sense,
duo
right? Such a good
bullied their
tag.
way through the women's
Yeah.
division on SmackDown. And from the look on Rousey's
So
face
strong.
at the time, she didn't really want to be there. Her last match in the company was at SummerSlam 2023, where
No
Baszler
way.
beat her in an MMA rules match.
Oh,
She
this makes
announced her
sense, yeah.
retirement soon after. Recently,
Oh.
she's revealed how unhappy she was during her second run with WWE. In her autobiography, she wrote, "I called Triple H and told him I was done being a babyface. I was
Yeah.
no longer capable of playing the good guy. I was done smiling and shaking hands with being shit on. I wanted to be able to defend myself, to say what was on my mind.
Oh my
It was
God.
my turn to turn."
Do they feel like it's so much easier for heels in the company than babyface? Because when babyface gets hate, they cannot like say shut up or F you or something like that. That's why, for example, The Rock is enjoying being a heel again. Because look at him and his banter with the audience. Like he would not be able to do that as a babyface. I feel like it's so much easier for them to like just push back and say stuff back to the haters.
But as hard as I pushed, WWE pushed back. It just wasn't yet time, I was told. We had to build up to it further, the producers said. We needed to better develop the characters. They talked about it as if they were writing scripts for serious actors who wanted to know what is my motivation for this scene, and not people who were smashing each other through tables. I went out of
I don't agree with her when it comes to this. It is not only about the smashing. It's not only that's literally what actual sport, actual wrestling, not pro wrestling, not WWE, not entertainment is about. I personally think that it is important to be a good actor, to be a good WWE superstar. Like, if you know how to sell it, whether in the ring while fighting or on the mic or behind the scene, if you're really like dedicated to that character and that role, like for example, The Undertaker is doing or was doing, like that is it. That's what sells it. And this is something that Ronda didn't really understand.
every week, night after night, and I sold falls, hits and cheap shots like a champ for WWE. But the fans hated it. The novelty of my arrival had worn off for everyone, including me. The story that WWE prides itself so much on telling was going nowhere. As months passed, I started to feel like WWE had sold me a bunch of
Uh-oh.
bullshit. She pours a lot more scorn on the company in her book, and she really doesn't hold back. And it's a shame, because that debut back in 2018 and her first few months with the company were absolutely fantastic. But in the end, she wasn't cut out to be a WWE superstar in any way, shape or form. There was a total mismatch between her personality and the corporate WWE machine. Do you agree with my opinions in this video?
I do.
Let me know down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a
Thank you
thumbs
for
up.
sharing.
It's much
I
appreciated.
loved it. Thank you, Stand By Wrestling. What a great video. You guys, I don't know anything about Ronda's run except what Stand By Wrestling has taught me in this video. I might have to search a bit more or hit the comment section and learn a thing or two from you and your opinions as well. I guess like Ronda Rousey proved to be a terrible fit as a WWE wrestler. Like, it didn't really fit her, but also Vince McMahon didn't do any favors. The storytelling and her being a babyface ruined it. Does that even mean that Ronda could come back as a heel anytime soon? Or from everything that she has said and everything that she said about WWE in her book as well, made it impossible for her to ever come back? Does she not even want to, maybe? Like, I don't know. There is a lot to be said. There is a big question mark here because she is a great wrestler overall. Like, she's good, physically capable. I would love to see her against Jade, for example, or Naya, or Rhea. But yeah, let's see what the comments are saying. It's almost amazing how a woman of her reputation couldn't handle being booed for a few months while Roman Reigns took it for years. This is the thing about pro wrestling. Like in WWE, you had to go through the lowest of lows to be on top. You had to somehow prove yourself. And a lot of wrestlers for decades had to prove themselves in order to be where they are today. Like if you look historically, for example, Cody Rhodes, where he started and where he is today, how like he even had to leave the company at one point and then prove himself somewhere else in order for WWE to understand his potential and respect him more. Drew McIntyre, like there's a lot of examples, and I guess people who never give up and people who keep trying and keep believing in themselves and keep proving others wrong are the ones who succeed. At least that's my opinion. But that is it for today's video. Let me know in the comment down below, what do you think about Ronda Rousey? Why do you think she sucked in WWE? If she did as well, in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day and see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Bye!